Shalom. Voglio porgere un caro saluto a tutti.
I'd like to welcome everybody, give my greetings to everybody.
Non ho capito bene qual è il soggetto.
I didn't understand well what I have to talk about, what I have to talk about. I don't know.
Grazie, siete gentili.
Thank you very much. You are very kind.
Allora, ci vediamo per discutere su...
Now we are sitting here to talk about the good heart and the mind of enlightenment. So for me, you are so very, very kind for me.
E potete mettere i microfoni di Rinpoche più vicino, per piacere? Grazie.
Please ask if to put the microphone of Rinpoche closer because you can hear better now. And I'm translating from Rinpoche, of course, from Fabrizio.
Allora io sto parlando a...
Now I'm talking myself that I don't know anything. I'm talking a group of people that they know many, many things.
Per cui farò
So,
il mio possibile.
I will try as much as possible with the motivation of being of great benefit.
Quindi questa è un incontro.
This is a meeting that we can talk and we talk among ourselves. We talk about a good heart, but the good heart, where does it come from? From which kind of mind? To understand what is the mind, the good heart, we have to understand the mind that are negative, the positive mind, or the good heart is positive. And so we have to understand what are the negative one.
Per cui di sicuro.
So for sure, all of us, sometimes we think I must absolutely develop a good heart. I should have a good attitude. And this kind of thought we have definitely many times within ourselves.
Quindi vedete quando
So when we talk about good heart or virtuous mind and positive, and the opposite of those, so those negative mind that are not the good heart, anyway, have to be part of the mind, and we have to understand what is the mind. Everything comes from the mind.
Allora, no, per cui è importante
it is very important to understand the mind, because the mind of enlightenment, bodhicitta, or when we talk about enlightenment, Chanchup, the mind of enlightenment, Chanchup Kisen, Chang, that means completely purified and Chup completely developed. But what? Purified from what? Completely developed what? These are things that we have to understand very well.
Per cui se
if we understand this question simply from the point of view of our experience, we as all the living beings in this world, we all want to be happy and no one wants to suffer,
Per cui
So
quando parliamo di
when we talk about
esperienze di felicità e di
experience of
sofferenza,
happiness and
abbiamo
suffering,
due
we have
possibilità,
two
l'esperienza di
possibility:
felicità e
the
sofferenza
experience of
fisica e quella
physical
mentale.
happiness
Ed è
and
proprio da
mental
qui che poi
happiness.
si
And so
diramano
from
e
this,
diventano tante
they
varie
become
le
very,
varie
many
esperienze nella
different kind of
vita,
experience of our
possiamo
life
vedere
that they
con
all have to do
il
with
fatto che tutti i
the fact
fenomeni
that
sono
all the phenomena, they
indipendenti
arise
e anche da qui
independence of
sorgono
something. So
tutte le varie
also
esperienze, no?
all we have all these different experiences that are coming from the mind.
No? Per cui quando parliamo
So when
di
we talk about the mind of enlightenment, in Tibetan, this Chan and Chub. Chan means purified enlightenment. What? That means all the suffering, all the kind of suffering that we eliminate completely.
베라즈나 동행 주리 동행 치반 두시지 동행 라소바 여와 송자 되는지 가져다 지 치반 두시지 리 시베 푼조라 아니 가서 착바 젬바 제와 아니 자첨보 진데니지 유제다 된 징행기 셰바 유젠 다 딘지 차되어로 디 창문로와 아니 랑기 짐바다르도 랑기 짐바다르도 아니 여다메 아니 그 제주 지하지 개정보 인사로
lo so. Per cui
So
parliamo di tutti i
when
tipi
we talk about the
di
different kind
sofferenza,
of
sono
suffering
molteplici,
that are
ci sono
many.
due tipi di
Particularly, there are three
sofferenza,
kind of
sofferenza del
suffering:
dolore, la
suffering
sofferenza
of
del
pain,
sofrimento
suffering of
e la sofferenza
changing,
pervasiva
and unpervasive suffering.
che
And
compone
that
specialmente tutte le altre
particularly
comprese
these have
nell'ambito
to
di
be
esperienze
understood,
poco
and to
significative.
understand
Che
we have
cosa?
to purify everything,
Regolarmente il terzo
particularly
tipo di
the third kind of
di
suffering, the
sofferenza, la
pervasive
sofferenza
suffering.
pervasiva
We have
che
to
compone, di
that
cui
is
cosa fa
made of
parte? Fanno
what is
parte
all the different
i
kind
fattori che
of
percepiamo,
we
i
perceive
fenomeni
all the
superficiali
phenomena,
che
all the
attraenti
perfections,
simpatici sono
all the
estremamente
attractive things of
attraenti
the
e sono
samsara,
veramente
really
deliziosi
beautiful, that they
tra
look like
una sorta
precious.
di affamento,
And
una
then
sorta
we
di desiderio di
arise
afferrarsi,
attachment, desire, and then we grasp on this, and the
che
different kind of
che
emotion
coinvolgono sia
that are
l'oggetto
involving both
che
the
agisce in quel modo,
object
sia la
that
mente
we
stessa,
see
che
it, and
compie
also the mind that
tutti
perceive
i
that
fenomeni come se
phenomena as incredibly precious, incredibly fantastic, that we have to possess. This is very important, that we have to understand, is to analyze, verify the way how these phenomena are perceived from our consciousness, and then how they appear. And it is exactly the way how the phenomena are existing exactly like this. This is really important to understand, to analyze, to analyze and check well if really the phenomena, how they appear to us, is the actual way how they are.
그 탑주 있나라 의니 주지 톱자 있나라 다지 그 덴디스 차더라
Per cui
And
se
so
andiamo a
if
guardare
we
tutti
go and look all the
le
different
varie
kind of
esperienze, almeno
various
quelle che
kind
sono
of mentality,
negative e quelle
those
che
that are
sono
negative and
positive,
those that are positive,
ciò che è negativo ha
all
a che vedere
the
con la
thing that is
sofferenza.
negatives as related to the suffering, or everything that is
Felicità.
positive
E
is to
questo
relate
non è
to the
nulla
happiness. And this is nothing else
come noi
than the
viviamo,
reality that
perché
we are
viviamo.
experiencing.
Non so, tu c'eri invece.
마 손에 아니 가서 남주니 최나라니 제 잔주기 쌤 다트즈데 제야라 다 가져라 마시 진제다 다제 냠제라 소바니 쌤 장당 자침보들의 송용도
Per cui noi tutti sappiamo
So we all know that our teacher, Buddha Sakyamuni, has taught many different kind of teachings, particularly how you develop the mind of enlightenment. What is the mind of enlightenment, bodhicitta? And as explained, all different technique, the one that is to recognize all the sentient beings that have been our mothers, their kindness, and recognize their kindness, and to exchange ourselves with others. And so for this, we know exactly that Buddha taught all these things, right?
per cui invece
And
di
so
lasciare
instead of leaving all these things as something that we know, like that is a habit that we have, something that we know, no, we should really try as much as possible to use it, to use our wisdom in relation to this understanding.
Per cui noi tutti
So
utilizziamo
we all know and we use different kinds in our daily life when we talk about somebody. That person is a very strange person, is thinking very strange. He has a very negative behavior because he has when we think about that person is thinking in a strange way, we think the way how this person thinks, and then is actually influencing also his behavior.
아니 semba ngemba ji chukare lo chinji lo yi lo ngasola tu jun de nire chwa na mi che chwa na 아니 콤버 저대 봐 아니 지 가져로 다 제와네 처럽라 콤돼야지 ngaso sem제라 가르지 락시여레 라와이나 아니 지 대샤 셰당 디무 낙심 내심 로다 차도 친지로이 롱에 요 수족바 콤바 인장 아니 ngazola sardu la mogo itone me changma la nga shushuji 용되어라 다심
nostro rimbuci conda mi pasciugo nostro c'è rimbuci per cui a questo punto
So all these sufferings or happiness, we have to use a kind of attitude that should be very open, vast, that embrace all the reality from the point of view of the causes. What are the causes that are bringing about this suffering? If we go attachment, ignorance, envy, jealousy, anger, they are all negative, distorted view. They are the understanding or perception that are completely distorted, that we have a habit, total habit and familiarity that all sentient beings in this world, all the sentient beings, they are completely guided and pervaded by perceiving and use their life in a reality that the perception are completely distorted, that and it's this ignorance that is pervading and overwhelming the mind of all these sentient beings.
per cui vedete viceversa
So on the other side, the mind that are positive, good heart, the mind of enlightenment, compassion, patience, and forgiveness, all these are positive mind. We don't have at all the habit or familiarity in kind of developing them, and they are just there like a thought, a wish that we would like to have this, but because we don't have the habit of familiarity, they don't appear in our daily experience, in our daily life.
텐조르지 텐조 좁지지 텐조지 물을 묻힌 자침보 퇴연체와 니까와 텐디 자침보 간제 레다 레민도 텐조 좁지라이데 가르레샤.
Per cui utilizzando la
So
saggezza,
when we use wisdom and intelligence, we have to analyze what is this life that I have? What is this body that I have? This particular existence that I have that possess the 8 freedom and the 10 richness. These 18 qualities, do I have them? What are these? In which way they are appearing? This is very, very important to use our intelligence in this way.
텐디 리덴 자침보데 양 아니지 니까와 텐치한테 양 세메다와 가르레샤 코레님이 가르레샤 아니 레이준데 아니 다르베 페라 소바티즈디 간르레샤 시럽디지 배조야고 짓땅 데니 랑게 응은데 따도 아니지 텐조지 물르르 무지인데 고슴데 배조야고 짓땅 당가저 베르제나 nga sim zangbu da changbu degeroa ta sim zangbu monro ni de tangbu tawa chinjilo de jige ane ngazola kharzo tangji maribam tawa chinjilo de wam dindigi longi jige ngazo sim de zangbu rugumendo rujugo mare tawa chinjilo de di tawa chinjilo so yinjang dini jobate ko chinjilo야 돼 준이래나 아니 저거 친지로 아니 다와디 지금다 비랑이나 아니 다들 지마다 동에 비랑이나 대완지마다 매장 비랑이나 장 학바데서 참게나 아니 지 다음에 다 다야 돼서 대 참말로 아니 가서 지 빼미시 검지된 곳을 가서 곰라이다 곰라이다 곰제라이다 최제라이다 돼서 참말로 아니 뭐네 러시아 니도 강이 갑라이나 오 아니지 딱시지 제 왜 니지 되나 랑기 동행기 심기 강에 랑기 미지기 들람 랑기 더바 가르치는 데도 아니 종주 가르치 용게도 아니 더바 대화 코는 되고 용야데 아니 대화 침부지 요와이나 주주베랑지 대인자니 고 시비 분조 잠지라 대화 중에 인자니 주주베랑지 동해베랑지 메다베랑지 덴지 찍라 로 랭게 도지게네 아니 거가 저 가져 추도거와 대승화 인자니 아니 지 천왕이 최청말로 코랑 위니 주 가래샤 아니 코랑이 남주를 가래샤 코랑이 장엔 가르스 명기도 띵중이 디코나니인데 공부하고 제 롭종이나다 드시 대지 야고 제바이나 데니 수수 빵거야지 동에데 아니 하고야지 죽고야지 대화디 하고야지 디 주제 빵바당 주바니라 주제 거기도와 그래서 나가서 다 제남바 참말로 간다치 냠내지니 라마자 진부지 아니 가져로 다 데리 잔자리도 로마 당가서 가져로 빵자가래 줍자가래 탈뚝 미유 가래 탈뚝 미유니 추죽니 거래도와 랑된 추고 연든 주고 탐바란 안데 데라 아니 제가 뭐부 지치네 고 당보신이 되주네 잠르 셈제네 수수수 낭바사바 인와 송장 저하체 잠르스나 가르지 라마지니 저 잠르 담바 인다다 잠르 때아 당가 때아 다지 디잠 마임바 니 마부시레
la so, canto cito ieri, voce tu dice, per cui è estremamente
So
importante.
it is very important always in our analyzing, investigate, analyze, use the intelligence that we have, and so how we perceive all these phenomena. What happens? I want to put hard, but I don't have. I have the habit in this direction, this vision that are completely distorted, that are pushed by ignorance. How is it possible? In the moment that the mind is completely slave, grasping to the truth, the ignorance that is grasping to the truth is impossible without doing anything against this. It's impossible that the good mind, like good heart and intelligence, the enlightenment is very difficult. So we have to really understand that everything that is impermanent, we perceive it as permanent. And then everything that is in the nature of suffering, we understand as in the nature of happiness. And so we try to understand and we try to grasp to something to really true. And then we perceive things as having a self when they don't have a self. And so all this is part of the sphere of the distorted views that we have that toward ourselves and all the objective that we have, all the goals that we have, all the objects that are perceiving and so forth. Everything, all our experiences like that. We have to reflect, we analyze how to perceive things. Is it really true how they are existing? What is happening on the basis of this? The action, the result that is coming from the action. And many of the lamas that are teaching us all these things. And so we have to analyze, particularly to understand what is on the basis of this precious human body, and have the richness to practice Dharma, what has to be abandoned, what we have to obtain, and understanding what to understand, to abandon what has to be abandoned, and to obtain what is the result that are the two bodies of the Buddha, the nature of body and the form body. How is it possible to achieve this? Is this is possible to a refuge? When we talk about a refuge, the Lama, they say that you have to practice refuge, you have to practice this, you understand this and that. In which way I can develop my mind and to go out of this situation? The path is very long, particularly if you are a beginner, you have a lot of things to do. For example, if you start to look at the Lamri, it starts with the correct way on relating on the pressure of the precious Guru, and then the precious human rebirth, the richness, and so and that this life is really important, and then it has a great potentiality, but it doesn't last. So we're going to die, and then so impermanence and death, karma and actions, the result, the liberation, and so forth. How you can obtain this? All these things have to be analyzed and understood and realized within ourselves. And so you see, it's really important to develop and to have a faith, the faith on the base of understanding, to have understood.
아니 지 내가 달도 마용한데 가서 시에는 대바 터가서 여나 아니 랑기 셈나나 내가 달도 대화대 연구여라 아니 시에는 대바 마터 와이나 아니 가서 소놈 차두지 이제 개회초 마모지 자체모다 레들이 이나요 지 가서로 다지 가서 니마치니 다자 가르쳐다 칼라자저라당 회신저라 말와 정죽 마톱지 파드 상 마제지 파드 동행 참말로 매워서야지 자신의 인장 랑마시 타입의 심전 탐지로 아니지 탈바다 탐지 준비 공부를 거기 들기라네다 딘디게 심자치부들이도 제수디 좀제 양다지 마시 바이나 아니지 라만다 때 나라 검 카르스 검다 잡 딱 고민하다 뭐라 제거로 그래서 니갑지 소와대와 참 맞아 장애생이 망보요리 내가 뺨미시 망보 아니 또그 된다 낭미 된다 안수수 짐바 당지 코나게 ngongani 아니 가서 메콤비니라 찡데로 아니 메콤바 예네 데라 수수예 니레 초아노라 깔레시 잽데안데 니레 초아노라 랑나 동에 가져져 저거 내가고 말봐 이거 인샤샤 지기도 대승자 니레 초아노라 깔레 제야 데라 아니 거라 동에 매바지 탑시지 마음발라이나 깔레 제야라 제부 장부치 랑 대와 예 대와 타이비 심전 탐지 대와 용야지 아니 줍줍 여발라 좀 마시나 펌부시오라
Per cui è estremamente importante
So
generare
it is very important to develop the faith that is based on, investigated, analyzed, particularly when we talk about the mind that are completely positive, like the mind of enlightenment, bodhicitta, the realization of emptiness, and so for all these things that we want, that we aspire to achieve, that we want to obtain, what is missing? All these things that are involving a lot of accumulation of merits and virtuous action needs the foundation of faith that is rooted in the reasoning, in the understanding, and to have investigated, have analyzed a mind that has already a virtuous mind that has analyzed the reasons that establish the need of the mind of enlightenment, how you can obtain this and how you obtain this. But instead, what we do is that during the day, we don't use this kind of intelligence and we let our mind completely slave of what makes us completely empty of freedom, not free at all. And we don't have at all the idea how it is possible causing constantly all the different suffering that we are experiencing. So all the effort that we are making to be happy, to be tranquil, to be calm, and so forth, in reality, they are efforts that are completely useless because they don't bring us the result that we want. But instead, all the effort that we try to put to develop good heart, the path, the wisdom, this effort, they will bring incredible result. And so we have to try understand exactly what are the cause, what are the particular cause that will bring about the ripen the result that we want. And the situation that we have is preventing us. We are in a situation that are completely empty, or we don't have at all the freedom to really realize this mind of enlightenment.
대송장 낭배추 낭바 저런서 다 사바리들이 낭바 사와지 낭주 사와지 조체와이나 오늘 전에 시에네 대바 더야 돼 백해심보 시에네 대바 마도나 좀 가려르세나 베르즈나 라마지테 아니 라마디지 잠도 되래 저런 잠도 클린셰레 아니 다 잠도 시비토네 아니 잠도 사슈저라 되니 마 아니 곰 저그 라나 곰이 직담한다요. 지당기 제공단 조금 라르데 있나야 다 디노네 예와체와 있나? 다 곰이 직담한다 싶어요. 대송자 아니 지 라곰이야 nga 장야 아니 지 칸데 거라 아니 지다 령아 있음지 계획 직제로 아 근데 강 조조지 제쇼 강 조조 제와 있나? 아니지 수수기야 다 님바로 그러지다 안 수수 이치패가지 아니 용기 에레세나 패직하고래 다 라마 첸데 자침보이나 아니 라마 코라기 구송도 연데 지시라 랑나 대바 이시지 인간에 안고 무튜니 템보 대기로와 디마도 빼미시칼레 가고로와 대송자 제나마서 이시여지리 빼라지나 왕지 꾸야이나 되네 다 왕고사리 칸된치고래 슬라와이나 알라지 칸된지나 가르치게 달라지 칸된지와이나 칸된데 마치와이나 아니 녀와 젠드리 라소고다다 직수 강해지 칸된지와이나 아니 지름지 공바이나 랑게 돈이도 그 종나하라 샤고요와 인자 돈이 마신나 라 한디스 공부 백갈레레 다 주주진에 데라 Kutang ani jeser kung la so badela ji mikten ji jan ji gomba ina dela ji ngun rubra ji top jan ro ji sam ta wa ina tendi ji ge yer de la ji pe ka le ka ko wa dela di gi ngun rub yung ya la ani su su gi nyu ba ji te wo wa jumje mo mo ji xie go do jumje ma xie wa ina ta kan den che che la gong gong ani su su la te ba yung ma re 이치 요말 이치 매장 대박 같이 빼갈래 가오래
Perciò,
So for
visto
this,
che voi tutti
since
venite da
you all
un
come from
venite da una grande, diciamo, un grande fondamento di
a great
istruzione,
foundation of
istruiti, educati,
instruction, you have education and so forth,
siete abbastanza
but
nuovi
you are quite new in the Dharma,
siete
and
abbastanza nuovi nel Dharma.
you are really new in the Dharma.
Fin
And so
dall'inizio, la cosa
since
più
the beginning, the most
importante è
important
quella di
thing is
avere
to
non una
have
fede
not a
piuttosto
faith that is emotional faith or blind faith that is just following whatever it is said, but a faith that is based on having investigate, analyze the reasons and understood. Because otherwise, if this faith is not present in this way, the faith intelligent faith, not blind or emotional faith, but a faith that is understood. So the Lama comes, gives the oral transmission of this mantra, gives you refuge, and then gives you say, to do this, to do that. So you have to do the 100,000 refuge and so forth. And we are still going on with a faith that is emotional faith because we saw the Lama. Lama is really incredible. That is incredible qualities, extraordinary qualities. So it's very right. But we don't have a stability in our practice because within ourselves we don't have the certainty or the understanding of these things, So this faith is emotional faith, and with this faith it's very difficult. But instead, if we have a stable faith with reason, based on reason, whatever things we do, when we accumulate merit, we recite mantra and so forth, we can meditate. So there are many different kinds of meditation. And so, for example, there is also meditation on the yoga of deity when we receive the initiation from the master, and then gives us the commitment, and then we have to do the yoga of the deity. And if we don't follow the commitment, you don't keep the commitment, then you go in the lower realm. But sometimes we do this. If I do the Guru Yoga, what does it mean that? What are the qualities that are coming from that? Where do I, and how is it possible to meditate on the yoga of the deity? So we practice without understanding what we are doing. And so the yoga of the deity, without knowing what we understood what. So it is impossible to obtain whatever we want. It becomes very, very difficult, very complicated to obtain whatever we want. Instead, if we have these things, the understanding, and then we trust on the master, we receive the realization. Without a faith that is rooted in the understanding, the reasoning and so forth, will be very, very difficult to obtain, to have any kind of realization if our faith is just emotional one. So it is very important that a faith that is based on reasoning and understanding is absolutely essential.
아니지 유다 유전 가라지기 아니 수수기 우유니 주대 유다 유전 코란게 우유니 주 가리마 랑기 루셈 라야데 nga 라야데 남준 처르바는 진단노나 독도즈 배 자치 직 간다 독도즈 직 가르서르다 딱봐 완다버스 대나진지 치로 유유진인게 응어네 착배로래야 짐바다 당원다 착배로래야 돼 가르잖아 그 독도즈 징기도와 미세지 유디 띵라 독도즈 랑지 줍대바지 싸와 니네면도와 그래서는 가서 죽보라고 때와이나 아니 nga 라디 독도 여베서스 파야 고지 제와이나 아니 수수 지 샤당 컨트롤하니들 야고지 제와이나 컨트롤하니 유인나다 유진이나다 한들들 제바 제와이나 곰 세나 곰지 제바 제와이나 아니 오늘 전에 rangi zimba tardola enduk zita yongdu yo marwa sha ru bakwa chuse de mabo zik di duru chara andi pama lawaina pame kota ti kota de kota dende eni a jongji chi jonga nangi jonga chara mo tokso mabo chigla tene ani chawache de tene ane ko zangi ne de te songzang she ni tebato la de 친한기 최참아 랑지 주바 여담메 온데 다디 야코제 셰송아이나 아니 동에 제르바지 동에 제룽이봐 동에 제주여봐 아니 대화 톱주여봐지 아니 곡된 자체부지 동에 참 남양 동에 남야 매봐 단다 같이 동에 똑똑 빼라 빼다 깨와네 깨와 공지스 여봐이나 자와 니네 매봐 저 투비야지 아니 코라 랑지 니룩시 형디 동인 상말로와 독도지 축도 받으면도 그 시도도 제 덴지에 띵중이 대困难인지 시송이나 아니 잔죽 셈 라야지 준죽 라야 자첨보데 아니 냠네 지야지 레와즈 레자이다 랑게 제외 연대지 랑토라 제외 연대지 시송이나 디타이비 심제 상말로 동인데 제롱이 하고 그러 동인 제롱이 인도라 동인이 찡대야되라 닌지 좀전에 된 닌지스 제기도 와 데마지 팡제 동인기 팡제지 주 로아지 죽되라 낭니 마티와스는 팡제지 주 아니 배sorba 마지베 쭉 전부 되라 되니 닌지스 제기도 와 쳐라 되니 닌지 명명라 되니 닌지 다 닌지의 제용을 조수 제기도 다음에 우유니 쓰리다 다음에 좀 지단기 사바즈 조에 말이 거라 우유니 쓰러 거라 맞어 오늘 님바 준보 짜신 보이나 우유니 주실리 제다 우유니 주 디시에서 와이나 차당 매가 저기도 우유니 주 마시야 송장 되니 랑초 직차 연초 직당 안에 직단다 작업이 쩌지암 낭미지 축조암 상말로 어디 가르쳐 버리세나 아니 차당 레서데 의니지 마통 의니지 마통 인자는 긴도 침벌래 다 장죽샘 줘야 되기 아니 집치 뭐만 내 의니지 마통이 짐바들이 나와 내 시에고야 돼 개쳐 버리지
Per cui quando parliamo di
So
fede,
when we talk about faith that is based on reasoning and understanding, based on understanding, understand what?
vuol dire che
Means that there is a lot of things to study, to learn, to listen, to research.
qual è
But
la cosa più,
what
diciamo,
is the most important, the need to understand we have to have among these is where we have to base the faith that is based on understanding, on the intelligence, on the wisdom that is related to reality. The reality is subjective and objective reality to come to a conclusion how this reality is existing and the way how it exists exactly as it appears or it exists in a different way. And so if we see what is the reality, how it appears as the reality of ourselves and the others, it seems something incredibly exaggerated, concrete, and objective. And so is a reality that is completely exaggerated, overestimated. And so on the basis of our identity that we took the things that is grasping on the concept of the truth, on the I, and this is already exaggerated from the beginning. And this exaggeration are bringing about all this negative emotion like attachment, aversion, jealousy, envy, and so forth. And so we have to analyze What is this reality? This reality we can understand only analyzing, using our intelligence, our wisdom. And so if we analyze this I that appears so objective, so concrete, independent, indestructible, and so strong. But if I go to check it, that I feel it is within, where is actually it is? If analyzing the body and the mind, I try to envelop all this, a different kind of aspect, the physical part, the different organs, the different parts of the body, and even for the more smaller, all the different details, and suddenly these things that seem so existing, so concrete, is not anymore there. You cannot find it. It's not there. It's not, even if when you look inside and you try to develop envelop all these four elements and so forth, all the different energy is not there. And so it appears in one way, but it doesn't exist. It exists in a completely different way. So when we understand this really deeply, then we understand why it is possible to obtain the liberation, the cessation, the reality of cessation. That is something that is possible to obtain, becomes so clear, and the path that brings you to that. And so this understanding that the phenomena are arising because they depend on something, they are completely empty of this existence, of truly existence. And so this, because this is the base, the foundation of the understanding of the reality that arises independence of something else. So this is really the base that makes arising all the other kind of positive mind, like the mind of enlightenment, because understanding this, the cessation, how it's possible for me to obtain this, it's possible, also possible for the others. And so this understanding, by understanding this reality, this brings about and supports completely the compassion, love, and the mind of enlightenment. And so because this as beings exactly like yourself, they can obtain enlightenment and liberation and enlightenment. So from very important things as to the faith has to be based on the understanding of reality. And with this certainty, with this investigation, if we don't do like that and we let go, we experience only continuously problems and problems and problems. While instead, if we understand this, then we will be able, doesn't matter all the different suffering that are coming from beginningless time, they are completely eliminated, can be completely eliminated, both for ourselves and or for all the others.
차당 제사지 유마통화 인장 그런 게 의니지 마통화 인장 차당 레오 인장네 다 내라 마 차당 지버지야라 의니지 통송하나 차당 지야지 차지 뭐뭐도
Per cui vedete da momento
So
che
you see, since all this affliction, mental affliction, this mind of attachment and aversion, they are cognition that are completely distorted, that are not according to the reality, with the reality. So the only way to eliminate this conception, the distorted one, is that we have to correctly understand the reality. When we understand the reality correctly, all those distorted mind, like attachment, aversion, they are completely disappearing.
고라 당가 차당을 가오면 먹고 살라나 저기 말아 차당 제사지 땡중 빼 샤창문도 베르즈나 가서 잠블링 저 리지도지 딱 하리나 리인도는 하리나 강다 잠블링 코라 야고 공부제다 종이 랑징하네 코랑 요그 탑 된데 친해진 지된데 종이 랑지 짱지 종아 리리리 카파다네 디 난기 쥐도 리리리라 공부파진 제주 지용도 뒤 타라 코랑 난기 ngala 코랑 예로도 코랑 파 제주 제도 디나지 난기 똑소 제장 차당 제사 청물로와 끼직 끼직네 주베 장신 끼직 끼직 제 용도네 주베 장신 주 용도네 제 장신 된데게 아니 가서 근접 직능라 망해봐 캔사부터 열어와다 나
Sì.
그라 딱이 제한테 뺏기지 뭐래도
Per cui
And so,
quindi queste sono
so these are attachment, aversion, and so forth are all
cognizioni distorte
concepts that are completely distorted, that they don't understand, absolutely don't understand the reality. And so if we should analyze the reality of the world, of ourselves, the world that is pervaded by all this suffering, all the sentimental suffering, and so forth. And so the world that is composed. If we go to analyze the universe, the world where we live, in relation to how it appears to us, we can see that the nature, all this nature is impermanent, is temporal, and in the process of changing moment after moment. There is nothing that is less. The more we analyze, the more we understand the matter, the substance, the atoms, and so forth. Everything seems completely disappearing. Is disappearing actually while we go to analyze and to research. And so all this is completely, this is the actually the conventional reality is momentary, is impermanent. And but even if it is like that, seems really kind of strange, you know. It's really strange that for us it becomes a perception that is like completely not attentive. It doesn't come in the field of our perception, this kind of understanding of impermanence, moment, and things are changing moment by moment.
잔죽이 쌤 나야 돼. 디코나니 니츠용하네 슉 자와이나. 오, 되니 대바데 빼면서 야고. 랑기 인중 제와이나. 되니 시베 분소 카레 제와이나. 자 첨보래. 빼르스 또그 땀참 고기래. 나서 거라. 에 디소데 여와인데 유초로 와. 대인자니 그거 잠 지레마도 딜라 빼 이체세네 빼 짜침부세네 제과요면도 다데니 랑기 인중데 랑라 로츠잖아 인중체 로데 파칼로데 아니 잔주기 셈 아니 셈제 상말라 닌지제세 점젠톤 셈제 라야데 상말로 아니 카르조로다지 에고 데바타르 마용와이 니숭아니 아니 닌지제야 난 소소 또그땀 년다 상말로 심진 파말에 때네 용거로 심진을 진을 때네 맞서 소대거로 진을 때네 초용도 아니 가서 닌지 빼야고지도 심진이 까진을 때네
per cui la cosa importante
So it is very important to understand the reality, and understanding the reality, then on that base,
tutte queste altre menti estremamente
all the other different kind of mind, very positive, like the mind of enlightenment,
eccetera, possono
and so forth,
possono
they can
essere
actually
possono
be
essere
developed.
sviluppate. Questo va
This has to be
prima su noi stessi.
reflected upon, but first on ourselves, to understand, to generate the mind that wants to go out from samsara, to see and to understand that all this suffering that can be eliminated. And the point is this: if we do need to live. We need the dress, we need a house, we need food, we need of many different our career in the work. In Tibetan is a tokosamtum, it's a food and to be recognized by others, and the dress that are the main activity of ourselves, are the object for which we are living. Actually, we do need these things in order to live, but we need merely just for living, but there is no need at all to become the most important things that are so precious and so valid, so permanent, so concrete, so desirable. There is no need of this. So we use this, but in the moment that we generate within ourselves, we understand, we can see the reality of the dependent arising and how all these different things that we are searching for are empty. They don't possess that importance that we gave to them, and we generate the mind that wants to be free from samsara. That understanding we put on others and on all the living beings that are exactly like ourselves. They want to be happy and don't want to have the suffering. So on that base, with this reasoning, then that has understood the reality of dependent arising, on that base we have generated this mind that wants to eliminate samsara, and then you put on others. With this reason, then we can see all these living beings are exactly like ourselves. And so also they are extremely kind, because everything that I need to live, that I search constantly, like food, dress, and the house, to be recognized by others, a career in their job and so forth, they all are coming from them. And so they are incredibly kind with us. And so not poor things. And in this way, we can generate a compassion, this great compassion that becomes the root for the mind of enlightenment, that brings to enlightenment. And so thanks to their kindness. So then in this way, it really will ripen the mind of enlightenment, a good heart that is genuine and based on the correct view of the reality that is being come from the understanding, correct understanding of dependent arising.
자침보라나 시럽 표시당라랑기 아니 구양보 아니지 가져오르다지 니갑다 타둑 참말라 쌤데 가수이게 시럽데 가수이게 수수기 표시당와이나 아니 된수이게 구양보 쌤 자침보 쌤 가수 자침보디 하고와 뒤수이게 아니 쌤 정보 쌤 정보서와 뒤수이게 아니 다쌤 정보 차서 정보연 아니 정보 차로 대송자다 잠바다 닌제져야디 시럽이게 아니 짠된 전에 잠바 닌제 공부를 제와이나 아니 빼 가르치고로다 아직 템보 아니지 강해지 채와이나 닌제제 가인세나 시럽이 좀제 거그러와 자바치시기로와 학성치시기로와 당진데 러브르와 임바데 하고로와 코 밑에 나고를 정말에 코 당진이 뭐는 주셔 닌제 아카 당진 콜로브르 바래 코 동에 되어 말 이나 코 탄다 동의기 그 당진디 아니 코 시원신 진이도 대송자 아카 닌제 니추 가리 있나면나 아카 닌제 람상 당진디 친절로 임바 하고 살아 아카 닌제 라야 돼 람상 닌제 제요
무서
뺨 메시지 잡아도 내가 이 잡아 라야 돼 꾸빠 말해 람상 코 당진이 자와지네 대제용되더나라 때는 서바 제용되더나라 코랑이 루심 투로야 아니 식년바 탁주년바 제컵라 있는다 침상라 있는다 대화 참을 투로와 아니디 셰당라야디 되니 서바디 아니 셰당디 아니 좀전 독자 임바다 학파도 셰당라야라 아니 당진이 징원 인장 셰당라는 제상고 시럽대 인증민이 개체물에도
Per cui questa
So
se sviluppiamo
if we develop the compassion on the base of this this wisdom, this understanding that as this wisdom that has understood the reality, and because this wisdom is vast and deep, our compassion also will be vast and deep. It's a compassion that embrace or everybody, a compassion that will bring benefit, both temporary benefit, but also long-term benefit. And also, more you use this intelligence, this compassion will become more and more vast, and so will embrace more compassion we have, and then because it's based on the understanding of the reality, and then there will be also sincerity, and sincerity will bring good heart. And so you can see that also the good heart in reality needs the wisdom to be able to be developed and to be made vast. So love and compassion that we're talking about in this context, and they are not an temporary emotion, but there is these feelings that are developed on the base of wisdom that makes everything becomes very stable. And so when this is present, now we develop these things in the moment that we enter into contact with the problems, then we will have compassion, not aversion about for the people and the problems. We will not see faults in others. We will not judge in a negative way of others. Oh, the person is really terrible. So we will have compassion because we will think, oh, poor guy, this person is suffering so completely, because we know that this person is completely overwhelmed by because is pushed by grasping on the self, this ignorance that is so deep that it perceive the opposite of the reality. And so on this way is all the aversion, hatred, and so forth, all the different negative action of the body, speech, and mind. And so this is what the person that has developed compassion in this way doesn't judge the person outside, but actually has a very deep compassion for that person, for those people that are acting in a very negative way. And so in this way, patience is not a naive person that is losing. Actually, no, it's not like that at all. A person that has a patience. Patience is a quality that comes having investigated the reality, that understood how and why the hatred, aversion, they destroy completely all the happiness and all the conflict from the smallest in the family, among the friends, and for other people. They are all caused only by aversion. And what is that eliminates aversion is patience that has understood the meaning, this meaning, and so it becomes a mind that is completely calm, not influenced, and then constantly continue to generate compassion. There is no anymore the bad person or the enemy.
슈그르 미기 통야지 강인치대야 당 아니지 통대 런디는 인지제도 강에 여기 지 네밤 작은 온주 풍대암 다 딘디지라 인지제고라 니 인지데 약래요 초를 버려 인지 초를 봐 차기도 되는 시럽이 제 숙점을 지기면도 최송장 지 미추보레 라야다 안 점을나 빼 짜심부레스 라야지 시페 푼조라 젠 차리 쇼 다키진데 디즈데 짜침부 예데언딜라 닌지 제기면다 다 원에서나 닌지 유지 버려 마조지 빵고데이나 닌지 유레 나마 링에 지사네 링에 텐데지 레레 고숨지 젠라 느치치 바랑라 느치치네 아니 단다 빵고 차네 딘디 차리마도 파마기 델라 독자 시조 마레라네 아니 옌지기 콜라 베 두고 당주 찍고 말해 rangi gosumgi le ngembati sani angkode pangu charwa desungza chupu de yang rangi gosumgi ani semjen la pendo chen rang la pendo jen la pendo chen digin drewi chupu cha am zem ningje mo cha am khangdar anzi sibe punzo za chimbo layaji ngonde tizu de yang gyujen tumin anele ani 지 쪼어들도 규진 튜빙안에 통리 태송아 인장 다 지디 규진 지기 약고질레를 데라 이나양 ngārgi le zonro 손은 사바사고요 말로 양하고 자리 당진다 진진다 톱당 고살 톱당 고살라 때네 잠블링 코나 또식 쉐도와 아니 랑기 소 짜침부 딘디지 열에 될지 예소 짜침을 준 통금면도 오늘은 직송으로 내 상무 당진이 소용도 제장다 야고스 따다 심코나 빼미지게 가르쳐다 주마 작순 쉬우신 로데로 대송장 장죽샘 라야다 심장보 라야듯이 참말로 주진지 코로나 하고거든 참말로 내도 뇽보지 심자침보 정보라야 맞아 미카시 지기도 소소 미세 빅바사사사 니 다와 디고사사 아니 저거 좀 저라 저랑 여보 유양이 말람 지게 저랑 여보 유양하쇼 라이도 뭐와 말람 제야데 빅바시 잔자리 디 여보 가요 그래 근데 그셈 겐도 쉬우지 줘야 돼 가서 하고 그러면도 다 소소 개화 잔잔 지나 개화라나 심질 펜도 니값이 또땀 년자 소와 니값 풍대 펜도 디 니값 잠만 봐 탈두글라 펜도 지야 돼다 그래 아니 시럽 배주신 아니 우연히 시럽데 배주신에 아니 랑기 탈두글 패야 돼 랑기 류다 롱주 개자 용수 줘봐디 똥바니잉아니 샤대야지 똥바니잉아 늪르고도와 끼치 주베 랑이 지레들 대송장 칼레라 딘디기 니수잉아니 랑기 류데 배줘야 보지 랑기 미세나라 가라지 자와 가라지 지게나 옌베 장장 옌라 뇌마지바 펜도 코나 삼는 땅와이나 펜바디기 삼노디 톱체보디기 랑이 침상나나 디지 싸침부 쉬우지 랑리 닝도 숙침부 쉬우지래요
Lo so. I cani gusto. Allora, vediamo un attimino se riesco a sintetizzare bene.
See if I try to summarize. When we talk about compassion, for example, normally we have compassion. Yes, of course, we do have compassion for the things that we experience, particularly when in the immediate. So where we get in contact with people that are very poor, people that are sick, people that have conflict, people that have incredible suffering, people with incredible suffering, and so forth. When we see this, we have this feeling of compassion, but this compassion is a compassion that is partial. Is not is a real compassion. It's not a compassion that is a rise on the basis of the wisdom that understand the reality. And actually it is like that. For example, in reality, this compassion arises because we grasp very much on the intrinsic reality. And so that there is a compassion that is contaminated by the affliction. That is the sign that is like that. It's because we have compassion down from one side, or that is those that look, some people that are, they miss things that we think that is very, very important and that we need. And so we grasp on this intrinsically on this. Those that have a richness that we consider very important, so precious, those people that are rich, that have famous, and so we don't have at all compassion for them, and for exactly we don't have the same compassion that we have for the people that are poor, because the base on this compassion is rise about grasping on intrinsic reality, a self-existent reality. And so the compassion doesn't see at all. The real compassion as underlies, the real compassion is vast and deep and embracing everything, because as understood, all these different kind of way of dependent arising the cause and the fact. And so all these things are complete resources that we have in this life, this body, this freedom and richness and so forth. They manifest in a way that is completely conditioned and is completely transforming. They manifest from the nature of emptiness, of intrinsic reality. And so they become absurd. Their reality is completely light. And so understanding this, we can go completely behind that these people have. And so they don't need compassion. Those that don't have, so we have compassion for them. We see everyone that we need to have compassion for all of them without they are object of our compassion, because we understood this. And understanding this way, this person what they've seen that how all these things is completely empty of a reality that is permanent. They rise and they disappear, and everything is completely changing and so forth. So the same our body, mind, this body should be kind of understood only to be benefit of others, both temporarily and also for in the last for the not only grasping with attachment to this body, but we have to kind of have this compassion for everybody. This will be beneficial at the short term and long term.
아니 산지 수전 진기면도 랑추 용수 쉬어 될 산지 송네 강달 랑기 응보때네 아니지 가져로 녀송 제거하면도 시럽 야지 땅에데 랑라 시럽 진지 말로 왔지 유여지 말이 소소 야지 땅도나 차창하지 심진라 랑치서 유여를 들어 내나진 전주기 셈조에 소소 유쯤바이나 아니 소소라 주야지 소소 가져로다 상마지 소소라 유여들어 태송자다 전주기 셈데 미시 계신 분 인사로 맞아 가래 인제나 맨제나 니레 소하나나 아니 맞아 수수수수 추킬레난다 말레난다 아니 수수이 니만 니레라 소하나나 디지즈 거그러와 니 디지 용야데 다 잠바다 제벨로 같이 잠바다 제벨로 요바 디주이 셈데 자침부 셈 부수 도보메바 아니 베르지난다 맞아 로니나나 네암 디주릭 디줄레 용두 같이 이제 심 자침보다 장보다 장보라 때에서 공지요와 되수데 강해요 말해. 가인세나 거 맞제와 대가랑라 캔슬 나사 임바 타줘 잘해. 가도 시기에 수하고 땡중로. 거라 되니 지 따직 제메용아 나사 들래 오늘 배 감라 배 졸라 매바데 시라 용 말아. 가르세나 좀제요 말이 남라 제나 펜바메바데 하고 그러 대자니 쌤 흘려지라기도 가를 흘려지 오라 쌤 수징돼야 랑이 수징돼야 팔려오라 데리다 아니 뒤숨직 진도르다 어머는 네바 좀직 야면은 마음 봐야지 좀직 야면은 닫아봐 니지 중더라 니기 안에 가서 강에 저기도 니 상마 쌤 거랑이 랑진 갈라 쌤 거랑 랑진데 하고 있더니 애는 참바다 제발로 저는 심장 지보 아니 부부바로 지보 아니 지 낭미 술어지는 지보 아니 디바타링 버치나 자갑 아니 가주 남주 시디 시고래 송기도 다 디주디 롭줍나라 롭종요 같이 심장부 연대 정부 자침부 딘디 일랍자디 그 최킬레나 말레나 디상말 롭종노는 드로바이나 zamno shide imbarwa shide cha imbare te songzang susu nire chwa no la ma ji ba yong shong shi lamsa shira pheje dang zimba ji rang zik zindore di zimba de palo da ani rang gi zimba na ji mewa de palo da kang sama se char teni ninje laksam zoba ti kale kale sam da ne ni changju gi sem zone gomba je so na dani halle be je ta wone chane nor yona mena 아니 시나 쇠나 드로나 데나 카와이나 기부 잔자로 미지 떨어지 땅와이나 가고요 말 메라지 땅나 가 두고요 말 한데 자마고 딘디 뒤중간에 상해지 여바 잠들이 마도 수수 있음데 칙신 지금 말아 수수 쌤이 장신 칼라 데니 닌제 잠바 제벨로 제 옌라 쥔투와이나 다 축봉만 돼 있어래 제망만 돼 있어래 포거봉만 돼 있어래 옌 가지 자치 뭐 있나 니갑산들이 주로 장신다 동의 장신 바 타주도와 나서
Non so molto cittadino invece, Carlince. Per cui,
So
tramite questa
with this understanding this what is then we put on the scale what is very important, what is not important. So we can understand the most important things in the life, the most trustworthy, the only refuge, the things that will never, it will be always positive and will bring about all the wish is the life, is the mind of enlightenment and understanding of emptiness, no, nothing else. And this can come only on the base of using the wisdom. It's not that we can ask the Buddha to give this as a present from the Buddha, or somebody that has all this realization to give to us, we cannot buy. How can we obtain this? How can we obtain this? Is only using the wisdom that the potential is already there in all the living beings, you know. And so we, in this way, by using this wisdom, then this will become really real practice of the Dharma, and so it will become really love and compassion that is sincere for others, and the person that thinks in this way, that brings about all this foundation, is a person that as in the moment that has a problem, immediately, instead of having these problems, analyze this. Where is this? Where is this problem? Let's see where is this problem. And then immediately we can let go of the concept that grasp on the truth as real, intrinsic. For example, we're still going to see with the pandemic, we have all these 2 years on the pandemic for people. For many people, it's been something incredible stress, incredible problem. But for others, it's not been like that at all. For some other people, it's not been like that. Why? Because the person that uses his intelligence in this way understands that is completely free of reason to get stressed about this situation, and because I have the cancer, I have this or that, the person has understood that the nature or the nature of the existence is impermanent and is temporary, and the moment that we are going to die, and this death can come anytime, sickness or not sickness. What is the reason to get stressed? Actually, it is actually the opposite, you know, because completely the opposite if we get stressed, you know. So instead we just instead of grasping on these things, understand this and let go to be in the quality of the nature of the mind, and we are in that space without concept, without grasping what was the past or what will come in the future, or whatever things that is happening in the present and so forth. So this will keep your mind more calm and tranquil and completely happy. And even when you have to experience a different situation or difficulties in the life, and in particular, this is the root for what is the peace. Everybody wants the peace, So with this mind, the mind can develop very vast and become very deep, and so will be a mind very deep. And this kind of claustrophobic idea is completely finishing that mind. And so in this that person will live very well with him or herself, and that person will be completely harmonious in the life, in the family, with the children, and will be completely harmonious with others. And so this will be also reflected in the society and in the world. All the world needs peace. We talk about peace in the world and so forth, but all this depends depends on the wisdom. When we have this wisdom that realize this, that remains in what is the reality of interdependent nature of everything, in the nature of the mind, then automatically everything that seems a problem or this grasping is completely free. We will be completely liberated from that. And so abandoning this instead of entering into a reaction of chain of stress and worry, and instead comes love, universal compassion. And in this way, this person will be very happy in any situation, and doesn't really matter if there is somebody that blame you or is against you, or somebody that is praising you, that says that you are so good. And so you can see that all this is completely free, empty of importance. And so, and all the phenomena in this way are happening because they are dependent. There is no this exaggeration of this interdependence. And so understanding this, then we have all the quality that can develop. So this is really the real wisdom. And so this is the real richness. A person that thinks in this way is a person that is very rich, is a very person that is really beautiful. This is very important to develop.
아니 가져러다 너무 계신이 야고 데네 다지 방랑게디 아니 마노르 와지 랍샤지 레네 테니 칼레 간드로나 베야보르세로라 나소 테니 드링가죠 가져러다 전주기 셈다 드리기 아니 직정보지 드링 제야지 개와장고 중소 체넘버 까진체 한테 상마로 가죠 개위 된델라 되니 아니 개위 춘델라 되니 라마 도지 chanjo 도지 chan이 잡주서 버는 거지 된지 집에 탐바 잠벌링나라 아니 된지 집에 탐바 가나 수주 상말로 꾸찌대야 지진지야 아니 젬벤치니지 강사 카와 저로 포모 순다지나 안테주 상말로 아니 꾸찌대 지진지야 자시 된르베 체들라 아니 오만랑 상마 나로나 아니 심 마투비 릭터졸라이나 아니 닝지 야고 지제네 줄레 전주기 셈다 돈이 따와지 사변 태바쇼 아니 건조기 딕바 첨부 제와이나 아니 니게 안제부 동행들라 아니 가서 닝지 야고 지제 한 대주대 참말로 내목주제 참마시 아니 건조기 셈나 잠니지 전주기 셈이 사면 아니 태바쇼 체네 수수기 마질라 강에 체나 푸디기에니 말을 제바다들라 맞아 아니 녀모기 당들랜데니지 람 아니 가서 친일로 따와게 된들라 닌제절라 메가지 제나로나 뭐야고 지로지 되지지
Per cui adesso per
So
concludere
to close the summary of all this meeting that we have, the most important thing is to pacify our mind and to make our mind calm. That is the most important. To do this, we have to trust to a great being, qualified master that teaches perfectly, and so we receive the advice and teachings and try to put them into practice. This is the most important thing to do. And I was very, very happy to be with you, to have this meeting with you, and based on this subject that we have analyzed together. So now to conclude this, all the merits that we have accumulated together, also the merits that we have accumulated since beginningless time, we dedicate that Lama Bacharadas Isaiah Lama, Kyabjisa Rinpoche, and all the great masters that are present in this world, the perfect spiritual guide. They may have a very long life without obstacles in their life, and so that all the living beings they can develop their inner quality of love and compassion and the mind of enlightenment, and particularly the wisdom of realizing emptiness. And in this way, all the problems in this world can be eliminated. All the wars, all the conflict can be immediately be pacified, and so the mind of the mind of all the living beings will be the proper understanding on the base of love and compassion, and understanding of each others, and particularly for those persons that are trying as much as possible. They are creating so much bad things in the world. Instead of having compassion, instead of wanting to eliminate it, to have great compassion for them. These beings, they are really poor because they are completely slaves on under their destructive emotion. They are suffering, creating suffering for the future. We so have incredible compassion for them, so that we dedicate the mechanism that their mind can be completely pacified, that nobody accumulate anymore this kind of negativities, and that may be happiness and peace in the mind of everybody.
Non solo, vorrei
And
anche
not only this, I want to also thank everybody that have been worked, that this meeting was successful, and then that you have been very kind, and so I thank you very much. Rinpoche.
Kone kondo pebare sho donyen dawa rinpoche
voce ma
mache
che
bana
bana
chi
che
chuji
giurce
deva
yaba
nyamba
nyaba
meba
nyaba
ya kone
kone
kondo
kondo
pebare
peva
sho
jo
cheba chujen rinpoche mache bana chi chuji
ci
deva
meba
nyamba
nyamba
meba
meba
Kone
kone
kondo
kondo
pepare
peva
sho
jo
chewa gendo yanda
duyanda
lama
lama
dan
da
jeme
la
alumre
longe
sadanam
sadan
ki
langi
yende
onde
raban
razon
doje
doje
change
changi
kombanyo
kombanyo
dojo
dojo
tembanji den kapson chemba
Idodo
tembai ni shendu sebai tenje puna shendu tembai tembai yurin de be rashi shu bedan zo mogoba yishen lobo pansa semjen rewa gongje ba samba druve rashi shu kamara re marme
Marmeda
Shema sewa
Gyajo
churu da mela lo da jinda
Ana
Vishe
Doje
chanam
Jame
de
de
dara
da da Uge Joshi Metoda Jirani Jime de Gabande Zoye Shinto Beba Roko Nanda Jena Jo Adade Sayato Jojo Nanda Laga Miri Yam
nanda reza langa chuge na kweda ishe roba zapse ninjo cheme nyamne la yeme tuge tile roji shu